Hello there, Year 13. This is another screencast looking at the written element of Unit 3, writing and evaluation of your research and development. This screencast will go on to look specifically at question 3. But first of all, let me remind you of those 6 questions you've got to write for your controlled assessments. And you've got to write the answer to all 6 questions in just 3,500 words. So it needs to be really concise and really on the button to make sure you get everything in for the examiner. So this question, this screencast is going to look at this question: how did you and your group explore the possibilities of form, structure, and performance style? This is one of the hardest questions in the whole lot because it's asking you to do 3 things in a really concise and tight way. So obviously the 3 things are form, structure, and performance style. And in order for us to do that, we need to first of all think of some definitions. So a definition of form is the shape and pattern of the drama. The definition of structure is the way the way that the whole play links up, and the performance style is the way in which it is being performed. So the question is focusing on 3 different ways: the ways in which you've shaped it, you've structured it, and the way that you've performed it. That's essentially what you're looking at. And about the process in which you've gone through to create that piece of theatre. Alright, so for this, we're really looking at our notes from our rehearsal phase. And specifically the notes that you created on your Facebook page and on the Frog page. And it's those decision moments about when you decided what shape the drama was going to take, and then the experiments that you had when you thought about the structure. And those experiments really went throughout the whole piece, throughout the whole process. And there would have been times towards the end of the process where you were finally deciding whereabouts this scene should go, when that scene should take place, whether you should have it at all. And the performance style was probably one that you made a decision about first. That is kind of looking at how you've performed it. So this is looking at a little bit more in depth about what those words form, structure, and performance style really means. And it's really going from the big picture to the very small picture. So from our examples from the rehearsal phase, we first of all need to think about form and the shape and the pattern that the drama took. So examples of where you and your group have experimented and made decisions about the overall shape of the performance, the big picture, the things about what you wanted the piece of theatre to be about, to tell, to communicate to the audience. And then we need to think about the structure, which is going to the next smaller picture. And examples of where you and your group have experimented and made decisions about specific parts of the performance and how they link to one another. Like I was saying, how the scenes link together and the story how you're going to tell the story. And quite often, those decisions are made all the way through the process, sometimes right up until the end. And only at the end are you just sure of how you're actually going to end the performance, or that scene you've been working on but not quite sure where to put, where you finally place that. And then finally, looking at the performance style, examples of where you and your group have experimented with the specific moments of performance and how your character communicated something. So it's looking at then the even smaller picture. So the first thing I want you to do as part of this screencast is to pause the video, review the notes that you've taken yourself, the notes that you've taken from your Facebook page and on your Frog page, and I want you to think about these 3 words, and can you think of a number of examples from those resources that fit into these 3 areas. So pause the video now and have a go at doing that. Okay, so once you've got those notes, we need to structure those notes a little bit more to allow us to fully answer the question effectively. So once you've got those sets of notes, what I then want you to do is this. So with each of the examples, you must be able to talk about where you have changed something of the performance from one thing to another based on your exploration and experiments. The easiest example, for instance, is within structure, about where you've placed a particular scene. But the same can apply with form and with performance style. So again, pause the video now, review the notes that you've just taken about under these 3 headings, and think of an example where you and your group have changed something to do with your performance on the basis of an experiment under the form, structure, or performance style. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at that. Okay, so that set of notes which you've just created is really going to then help you to complete the answer to the question. So those are the sets of notes you're going to take into the controlled assessment with you. You can use those set of notes now, though, to have a go at practicing writing an essay. And I've got an example of how you can structure your answer, and you really need to be ever so concise, because you've got 600 words, 3 things to write about, which really means that you're going to be writing 200 words, 200-word paragraphs. And I know that sounds mad, but you're going to have to really practice at getting that concise. So here's a suggested structure that I've suggested for you, using the point, evidence, and explain. Point, we explored the use of what, we decided that what, we did this because. So you're going through that process which you've just done in your note-taking. So you're talking about what you explored, the decisions that you made, and the changes that you implemented in your performance. Okay, so have a go at writing some of those. Try to make it as concise as possible. That's the really key bit. All right. I just wanted to finish by giving you some really important pointers. The first bit is to always write from the perspective of my performance and what I did in the performance. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about you here. It's fine in the opening sentence to have a little we, to talk about we. But really, later on, you want to talk about the I and what you did. Be specific as possible. Don't talk about general things, but talk about specific skills. Focus in as close and as detailed as you can. The next one doesn't really matter so much, or the next 2 don't really matter so much for this particular question. So I wouldn't bother with those. Okay, so good luck with this one. Remember, the practice questions can't come into the controlled assessment, however the notes can. Alright, good luck.